Unbelievable. What a game. I didn't think going into tonight's game it would go into overtime. Honestly speaking, I expected the Knicks to dominate and destroy the 76ers. Now, honestly, we can go through the postgame, and we will. We'll talk about the entire game. We'll talk about why it was so close, so many of these other things, and obviously some of the defensive lapses that we saw from the Knicks team tonight. Before we jump into tonight's game, and yes, do not get mistaken, you are tuning into the post-game show for the Knicks versus the 76ers game that went into OT. I am your host, Troy, and you could be anywhere in the world right now on any other stream, but you chose to be here with me tonight, and I really do appreciate that. Before I jump into the postgame and talk about all the things that we have to discuss about tonight's game, you know what I have to do before I start off? Got to take care of some business. As you guys know, we are on a mission to try to reach 25,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you enjoy daily Knicks content like this, streams and other clips that we release, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. But going to tonight's game, it again was a tale of two halves. Now, I don't like to say that, but if you watch tonight's game, that's exactly what you saw. Another thing that you saw was an aggressive Mikal Bridges. Now, that's exactly what we needed. If you didn't watch tonight's game or you didn't see the injury report, Karl-Anthony Towns has a bone chip in his thumb, along with a sprain in his thumb. Don't worry, we'll be dropping a video about that very soon, giving you an update about Towns and what to expect about him. But just to sum up, because of that injury, he was not available for tonight's game. So that means we needed another scorer to step up and step in. And the question was, who was that going to be? We found out very quickly. It was going to be Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart. Mikal Bridges, from the start of that first quarter, knew exactly what he needed to do. Be aggressive, attack, try to make baskets, get easy shots, and also pass the ball. We saw that from Mikal Bridges. We saw Jalen Brunson take exactly what the defense was giving him. He didn't force any of the action, didn't take over the game. He just let the 76ers play him however they wanted to play him. And if he was given single coverage, he cooked them. And then finally, when he was double teamed, he was passing out of the double quickly, finding the open man, and we were able to make that ball move. The ball movement tonight, especially in that second quarter, where we saw 23.9 seconds of ball movement before Deuce McBride gets open to hit that three. That is beautiful basketball. That's New York Knicks basketball. And it's that type of basketball that makes us dangerous. You want to know why teams can't really play zone against us? In reality, it's because of the shooters that we have on this team. We can destroy so many teams with the players that we have. And going into this game, you saw what we could do. At halftime, even without Karl-Anthony Towns, and I understand the 76ers didn't have Joel Embiid, but either way, we were up 13 points on the 76ers. But in that second half, for some reason, that third quarter, again, it's the tale of two halves. We allowed the 76ers to score 38 points in that third quarter. This basically deleting our entire lead, reducing our lead, taking away our lead. Because in that third quarter, when it ended, the game was tied. They did that by attacking. They did that due to Tyrese Maxey. They did that because of Paul George, and the Knicks could not respond. And then in that fourth quarter, it was a back and forth affair. You saw Jalen hit a big three. You saw Tyrese Maxey hit a big three. OG Anunoby hit a big three. It kept going back and forth, and then we had a chance to win the game. A very bad turnover from Jalen Brunson with Tyrese Maxey getting the steal. They tie the game. We go into OT, and I'm scratching my head, yelling at the television. I can't believe we're in OT with the Philadelphia 76ers because we were this close to closing them out. Then we go into OT. We're perfect in OT. Perfect from the line, perfect from the field goal. We're perfect in every single direction. We're playing good defense. We're getting the stops that we need, and we close them out. We steal the victory in Philly, and we take that victory. We could not lose this game. It was not a game that we could lose. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart made sure that we did not lose. We stole this game. We got the victory in OT. And now we are walking away from this game with our we are walking away from this game with our heads held high because we got the W. We're going to break down everything that we saw from the Knights game, why it was so close, what happened in that third quarter that allowed Philadelphia to get back into the game, and ultimately how the Knicks closed it out and stole this victory in Philly. We're going to talk about all of these things today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. So that way, anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. The Knicks steal that victory against the 76ers in overtime. Like I said, with Philly missing a number of players tonight. And I know the Knicks were missing Karl-Anthony Towns, but honestly, against a Philly team that is very, very bad, not playing great, missing Joel Embiid, you would think that we have enough talent on this roster without Karl-Anthony Towns to dominate them and blow them out. But one thing I've learned about this Knicks team is that you can never think that they have something locked in, something that's already won. Because if you believe that or think that before the game, you probably already lost. And this Knicks team without Karl-Anthony Towns has yet to show me a dominance performance. So because of that, it's hard for me to believe that against a Philly team, even without Towns, that they're going to be able to blow them out. And we saw very early on that was not going to be the case because it was going back and forth there for a little bit. And when we go to the quarter-to-quarter breakdown, you'll see in the first half, the Knicks were actually doing very well. They were playing good defense, but the ball movement, they had 8 assists in the first quarter because they were moving themselves, they were moving the ball, they were playing defense, getting steals, moving in transition, and getting easy buckets. It may not be said a lot, but the Knicks, when they run, when they go in transition, when they try to go into fast break mode, try to get fast break points, or get a steal and run, or get a long rebound and run, they're almost impossible to stop on offense because somebody's going to be open, somebody's going to hit a three, drive inside, cut inside, and I thought that the Knicks were doing a very good job of that to start off. That's why in the first quarter, the Knicks were up 30-21. We had a very good lead in that first. In the second, I thought Philly fought back really well, but we saw a lineup change. Because Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't there, we saw Mikal Bridges more or less run with mainly the bench unit and also with Josh Hart. But with Josh Hart on the floor, he's not Karl-Anthony Towns. He's not Jalen Brunson. So because of that, in that specific lineup, Mikal Bridges is the alpha. He's the guy. He's the one that's running the operation, running the show. And you saw him out there. He was speaking to the bench, very vocal, telling players where they needed to be. And there were a number of possessions where the bench was running plays to get Mikal open to hit threes. That's the unit I want to see moving forward. I've screamed it from the top of my lungs. I don't even know how many games, how many post games, how many videos, that if the Knicks want to see Mikal Bridges do a little bit better and thrive, all they have to do is substitute him early and then play him in the second quarter with the bench unit. If they can do that, his numbers will go up and he'll thrive. That second quarter, he was aggressive. He was hitting his threes. He was getting to the line. He was, well, maybe not getting to the line as often as I wanted him to, but he was still attacking, being aggressive, shooting that three, having confidence, finding his other teammates, being the ball handler that we needed him to be. That's why the Knicks were able to go up 13 points, have a 13-point lead on the Philadelphia 76ers at halftime. It really wasn't only the Jalen Brunson show, even though he did well. It really wasn't only the Josh Hart show, even though he did well. Mikal Bridges was very aggressive to start, and that's the Mikal that we need to start out games, close out games, and have for 48 minutes. Because an off-the-ball, aggressive, off-the-dribble Mikal Bridges, that's a weapon. That's dangerous, and we saw what he can do. But then we also saw that third quarter. Did not like what I see out of that third. In the third quarter, the Knicks forgot how to play defense. They were allowing Tyrese Maxey, who was quiet in the first half, to go off in that third quarter. Paul George, who was quiet in that first half, allowed him to go off in that third quarter. It started out with Maxey. Then when he went to the bench, it was PG-13, basically to close it out, all up until their rookie, who recently started for them and played a lot of minutes off the bench, hit a big three-pointer, and they tied the game. It was 85-85. We were going into that fourth, still back and forth affair, and then we are tied. I am screaming, yelling at my TV, throwing everything that I can around my room because I can't believe we're in overtime. I never wanted to be here. We just got here off of a bad turnover by Jalen Brunson. He's holding the ball. Tyrese Maxey right behind him. I guess nobody's communicating with Brunson because the ball gets stolen out of his hand. Paul George on the floor, timeout. They get the bucket. They're able to score, tie the game, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. We're this close to winning, and that happens. I cannot believe it. We go into overtime, and then in OT, the Knicks do what they should have done to close out the fourth quarter. Suffocating defense, great ball movement, great team play, scoring, moving, getting easy baskets, easy buckets, cutting inside the paint. Talking about OG, talking about Mikal, talking about Josh Hart, whose hustle plays, whose rebounds, whose elite playmaking was one of the main reasons that we won this game. Yes to Jalen, yes to Mikal, but of course, yes to Josh Hart. We did what we needed to do. We got the victory, and even though it wasn't pretty, even though we didn't really play Knicks basketball in that second half, sometimes it's through adversity where you show your true colors and see what type of team that you are. Do you fold? Do you quit? Or do you continue? Do you push forward? And do you try to win the game? The Knicks showed their true colors. They don't quit. They have the grit. And they are going to try to win the game every single time. We did it tonight. We got the victory. We stole it in OT, and the Knicks have won this game against the Philadelphia 76ers. We have it at 125-119. The Knicks beat Philly, and that is the final score right there. As you can see with the quarter-to-quarter breakdown, well, actually, before I get there, let me get a drink of water because I'm killing myself right now. All right. So going back over here to the quarter-to-quarter breakdown, as we're seeing, the Knicks first quarter, 30-21. Like we talked about, they had a good first quarter, good defense, good ball movement, good team play. The second quarter, again, they score another 30 points, really in that same way. And I did like the lineup that we saw out there with Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, Deuce McBride, and Campaign. That was a great lineup that we saw, and I thought Mikal Bridges took advantage of that lineup as the leader of that lineup. And then that second half, as we talked about, we allowed the 76ers to score 38 points in that third quarter. The second half was just not great play by the Knicks. We did not do what we needed to do defensively. We allowed the 76ers to attack inside, get whatever they wanted to get to the line, stop the clock, and take our 13-point lead and erase it. Because as you see there, they're up by 13 points in that third quarter. The fourth quarter, obviously, we're all tied. And then in OT, we outscored them 16-10, getting this victory. The game leaders, as you see here, are Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey, for them, had 32 points. But get this, to get 32 points, Tyrese Maxey had to shoot 32 times. He did hit all of his free throws, but remember, Maxey scored 30+ on 32 shots. Let that sink in. Even though they might want to call him a superstar in Philly, do superstars need to take 32 shots to get 30 points? I don't think so. Talk about defense. He was missing a lot of shots, don't get me wrong, but the defense that the Knicks were playing on him, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, how they were switching, it bothered him. And when he was going into the rim and he was going into the lane, we saw a lot of good play from our centers in Jericho Sims and also Precious Achiuwa. And Achiuwa was the one that closed out that game because of his defense. He had a number of great block shots at the rim, and we saw that a couple of times. That helped the Knicks move in transition and ultimately help us get the victory. A lot of players helped the Knicks seal the deal. It really wasn't only one player, but when you it really wasn't only one player. But when you look at the game on its head, in total, 3 players were the main reason why the Knicks won this game. They contributed at a level that nobody thought possible, and they helped the Knicks take this victory, really steal this victory from the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about here. It has to be, of course, the captain, Jalen Brunson. But, of course, he had a little bit of help as well, too, in his roommate, Josh Hart. Jalen Brunson tonight, I mean, absolutely phenomenal. 38 points, and did it like a superstar was supposed to on 22 shots. 14 of 22. Talk about efficient. He had 4 assists, 5 rebounds, and his roommate in Josh Hart, another triple-double. He had 10 points, 17 rebounds, which, by the way, is a season high for Josh Hart. He had 12 assists, which, by the way, ties a career high for Josh Hart in assists. Another triple-double, but an impactful triple-double. He was finding players. He was doing the cross-court passes. The way he found Deuce McBride in that second quarter, he had the ball nearly past half court, and he was still able to find Deuce McBride, who was nearly under the basket, and it was a bullet pass. The way he can read the game, the way he just knows where the rebounds are going to be, where the balls are going to be, where his teammates are going to be, where he needs to make the pass, even through traffic. He is gifted. He is talented. It's not easy to do what he's doing. It's not easy to get triple doubles. It's not easy to do it when your primary role on the team is just an everyman, to hustle on the floor and do a little bit of everything. Imagine that's your role and you're still giving a team triple doubles. You're still having a double-double, sometimes without even points, just rebounds and assists. Think about how crazy that sounds, and never complaining, never upset, just happy to have an impact and watch the team win. That is what Josh Hart is giving you. One of the only players in the league that probably would never complain, given his stat line, the amount of touches that he gets, and the level of impact that he has. It's just phenomenal basketball. If Jalen Brunson was just as efficient, 14 out of 22, giving you 38, giving you a little bit of assist, a little bit of rebounding as well, too, giving you some steals as well. I mean, Jalen Brunson was very good. Helped this Knicks team stay into the game, gave us very good, very big buckets when we needed them, penetrating, creating, attacking inside. If he was given single coverage, he cooked them. And when he was doubled, passed out very quickly. It was the hockey pass to either Josh Hart, who found an open OG Anunoby in the corner, or found another open Mikal Bridges in the corner. And that was the way the Knicks got back into the game, kept the lead, and never let the lead go. Can you believe this, guys? The Knicks went into this game. We went to OT, and the 76ers never led once. They tied a bunch, but never led. The Knicks won this game, always led in this game, and never let the lead go. That is also very impressive as a team. That's having team pride, knowing that the game is tied, and if they get that lead, they might take the momentum. And you know that. You keep the momentum, and you make sure they never touch it. They come oh so close, but they can never grasp it. Credit to who we need to give credit to. Jalen and Josh, my goodness, what a performance. We do not win this game without those two playing at that level. Talk about elite. Jalen and Josh, unbelievable, magnificent performance. We also have to talk about their other Villanova brother in Mikal Bridges, who also had a very good performance. A little quiet in the second half, not as aggressive in the second half, I'll give you that. But when we needed the big buckets, when we needed the cut, when we needed the three-pointer, when we needed him in the first half, who was there for us? Mikal Bridges was there for us. He wins 23 points, 5 of 10 from 3. The Knicks, without Karl-Anthony Towns, dominate in overtime to escape Philly with a win over the injury-riddled 76ers, 125 to 119. Again, Brunson with 38. Josh Hart with 10, 16, 12, and 4 steals. Unbelievable. Bridges with 23 points, as we just reviewed. OG Anunoby with 17 points. And Precious Achiuwa was great down the stretch. And Deuce had some big shots as well, too. You have to understand what Mikal Bridges was doing tonight. We want to see this from Mikal Bridges on any given night. It shouldn't be when Karl-Anthony Towns is not there. We should see an aggressive Mikal Bridges whenever we play any of the top teams, any of the bottom teams. It shouldn't matter. Whenever he has a lane, he should attack. Whenever he has an open basket, he should take it. Because that's the Mikal we traded for. The Mikal you saw tonight, that's the version of Mikal we need to see every night. Because that's the Mikal you traded for. The ball handler, the scorer, the attacker, the aggressor. The aggressor. Look at the shot attempts he had the previous game and the game before that. He wasn't looking to attack. He was looking to defend, but he was deferring a lot of his shots. Grab the ball, pass it quickly. That is not Mikal Bridges. That's not his game. If Mikal Bridges wants to have an impact on this team, he needs to do what he did tonight. Attack, be aggressive, shoot when open, not even think about it. As soon as you catch it and you're open, shoot. And that seems to be where he thrives. When he thinks, even thinks a little bit about that shot, he misses it and it doesn't go in. But if he just catches and shoots it, looks at the basket really quickly and shoots it, most of the time, that shot is going in. So that's what I want to see out of Mikal Bridges moving forward. Just the confidence and the ability to trust in himself, trust the shot, and know when he catches it, it's going to be automatic because he puts in the work for it to be automatic. I like that aggressiveness. I just want to see it more consistent. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Troy, you're happy that the Knicks won this game, even though the 76ers were really injured. They're not a great team this year. And honestly speaking, the Knicks should have dominated them. I'm not happy per se that the Knicks beat a team that they should have dominated. I wish they dominated them. That's the point of playing these type of teams. You need to win in the fashion you're supposed to win in. The Knicks are a championship contender. The 76ers, regardless of what they want to say, they don't play like a championship contender. We should have dominated them. We should have blown them out, but we didn't. However, like I said to start off the show, when you're put in these situations, it now becomes a test of adversity. Do you have what it takes or not? And that's why I can praise this team. Because when everything was on the table, when the chips were down and we needed to get this victory, we needed to win, we needed to succeed. Were we able to do that? Were we able to close out the game? Yes, we were. And we were able to do it without one of our best players in Karl-Anthony Towns. You're dang right. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be hype. And I'm going to praise that victory because it was a praiseworthy victory given the way we won, the way that second half was played, and how we fought back. Never let it go and never let them get the lead. I think that's important to understand. If we're giving out flowers, and it seems like we are, let's continue with the flowers. Let's continue giving them out. Let's give it out to another person who really deserves it. Deuce McBride. The stat line is not going to do him justice, I promise you. But if you watched the game, you know and you saw what I saw. Deuce McBride off the bench as the Knicks win in Philly. 13 impactful points. 4 of 5 from the field. Talk about efficient, instant offense. 3 of 4 from 3. 3 rebounds. 3 assists. 1 steal. 0 turnovers. Great defense on Tyrese Maxey at times. Knicks got contributions from all over the rotation to seal the win in Philly. Miles McBride knocking down shots, seemingly finding his rhythm was a key factor in the win. He had 13 points on 4 of 5 shooting, 3 assists, and a steal in 22 minutes. McBride entered the game shooting 33% in 3 games since returning from the hamstring injury. And now in this game, clearly, he had what it takes. He found his groove, and he was able to score for New York. And you had to love to see it because honestly, I really did. I love to see exactly what the Knicks were running tonight. New York made me happy and sad in a couple of ways. Happy the way they played that first, happy the way they closed out OT, a little bit angry and upset, and of course frustrated in the way we treated that third quarter and really that second half. The consistency is still not there. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I think I need to. Where's the consistency, guys? Where is it? As a championship contender, don't we deserve consistent defense, consistent offense, consistent play out of our team for at least, I don't know, 48 minutes? Isn't that something that we should really hope for, really should desire? It's not something that we're getting right now. And until I see it, I'm going to continue to say we have a consistency issue. And it's something that almost cost the Knicks the game tonight. Because if we had that same level of consistency in the third quarter, we're not playing OT. We're closing out the game in 4, and we're going home early. That's something to consider. Now, I want to break down the team stats before I go to the game chat. I promise you guys, we're going to get to your comments. We're going to get to your takes and cover everything you want to talk about regarding tonight's game and what you liked and didn't like about it. But before we get there, like I said before, I want to go to the minutes breakdown, talk about some team stats, and let you know exactly where the Knicks were, how the Knicks won this game, and why ultimately it was so close. But without further ado, let's talk about that minute-to-minute breakdown here. So as you can see here, the Knicks minute-to-minute breakdown over here. You got Mikal Bridges at 43 minutes. OG Anunoby at 45 minutes. Jericho Sims at 23 minutes. Jalen Brunson with 45 minutes. Josh Hart with 49 minutes. Precious Achiuwa with 30 minutes. Cam Payne, 7 minutes. Miles McBride, 22 minutes. And the rest of the roster was a DNP coach's decision. Make sure we're keeping that in mind, guys, when we talk about these team stats here. Now, with the minutes, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to destroy Tom Thibodeau, say he's a bad coach, or say that he played the starters too many minutes. The game was close for the entire way, and we went into overtime. In these type of games, it's hard for me to criticize the minutes. I could say utilize your bench more and play your bench more, and maybe in other games I might do that. But when a game like this is close, we're in the game, we have the lead, and we need to make sure we're in it with all the players that we trust and have there. And we need more offense. And we're not getting certain play, certain offense, or certain type of movement from the bench wherever we get into the game. I'm okay with running the starters a little bit more. It has to be in certain games. But if we're up by 20 or down by 20, it doesn't make sense to keep the starters in the game. Like I said before, it always is going to be a point with the New York Knicks. They're either going to have to make it or break it. They're going to have to stay in the game or make sure they're going to stay in the game and make sure it's a close game to play their starters this many minutes. Or if it's a blowout, have that foresight and take your starters out because it's a long season and you have to be prepared for that. But tonight, I am not going to kill Tom Thibodeau with the minutes because clearly we needed each and every single one of those minutes in order to win this game. So very, very important to understand, though I do wish the Knicks expanded the rotation a little bit more. 9 players, 10 players, 10 legitimate players playing significant time because maybe that would have helped the Knicks a little bit earlier on, but that's something, again, that we have to look forward to a little bit later. Now, going back to this minute-to-minute breakdown here, one player I do want to talk about is Precious Achiuwa. 30 minutes, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 10 points. Now, it's not going to say a lot on the stat line and the box score if you're looking at the game and you're taking a look at everything that the New York Knicks were doing. But I watched the game, and I saw Precious Achiuwa give you very good defense, give you great blocks down the stretch. I believe he had a late block on Tyrese Maxey, a very good one that helped the Knicks make a play in transition and get an easy basket. Remember, the defensive effort from Precious Achiuwa is just as important as any offense he's going to give you. And honestly, one of the main reasons Achiuwa was down the stretch closing out the game over Jericho Sims is because Sims gives you defense, but not that much offense. Even though he did give you a putback dunk tonight, Precious Achiuwa moves without the ball better. He can play without the ball better. And clearly he's better on offense and he can play very good defense. That's why he was in the game late. He was closing out the game and he did a very good job. I liked what I saw from Achiuwa. I like the fact that he was in the game, and clearly, when given the minutes, he can shine. He can have an impact, and he can be a very good player for New York. So hopefully moving forward, he continues to see this much time off the bench, because I really, really think that Achua could really use that time. He is a very good player when given the significant time off the bench, and tonight, I think he showed you that. So hopefully in the future, we see Achua get that time to showcase his ability and everything that he can do. Now, we're going to break down the other team stats and also the full breakdown of stats and the shot chart. But before I do that, I got to go to the live chat, get to your comments, and see everything that you guys have to say. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Yuri says, I can't describe Josh Hart anymore, man. Love him. Yuri, and that's Yuri, our moderator, and also a great member of the channel. $2 super chat. Really do appreciate you, Yuri. Always a pleasure having you as part of the post game. And Miami Chaz says, Sims has no offense. He really doesn't. He really has no offense. David says, Knicks defense got to be better and more consistent. Even Josh Hart said so after the game ended. Max B, it's hard to make up for Cat's rebounding. He gets 20 rebounds a lot of nights. Hope he is back soon. I mean, with that bone chip in his thumb, he is considered day-to-day. Although I will say, I told everybody who would listen, even when he had the little tape on his thumb, on his finger, I think it was, I said at that point that he needs to be better. I said at that point that he needs to not play in that game, that he needs to be taken out because he was grimacing. And what happened? He stayed in the game. He got a wrap. And then what? That finger got even more injured. And now we know it's not only a sprain, but a bone chip in his thumb. And he's going to be playing with it for the entire season. No surgery may be needed, but it's a problem nonetheless. Something to look out for. Josh says, Troy, Villanova was in the house tonight. Troy, should we be concerned about Cat's thumb injury? I would be. Because it proves my point to something that a lot of people are not going to like this what I'm about to say. But you know what? I don't mind. I'll say it anyways. Let me ask you something, guys. We saw Josh Hart, right? We saw all these players. When you see somebody go down or they're really injured, normally they'll call to the bench or the coaching staff will have the foresight to call them out. I'm not the only one that saw Karl-Anthony Towns grimace when he was shooting shot after shot after shot during that first half the other night. But he stayed in the game. I was screaming for him to exit the game. Then he comes back in the second half. I see a black tape wrapped around. Then what happens? Somebody pulls on that, and then he runs to the crowd in pain. And then we find out a little bit later, not only is a sprain now, doubtful and out, but now he's day-to-day with a bone chip. Was the bone chip already there when he first sprained it? Did it happen after he got re-injured? Hard to tell. Really hard to know. But if I had to guess, I'm going to think it happened after somebody pulled on that thumb yet again and perhaps maybe tore something or pulled it in a way that they shouldn't have. I don't like the fact that he's day-to-day. It is something to be concerned about because he's in pain every time that he shoots. That's not something I don't think any shooter likes to see. I don't think anybody wants to shoot a shot and then feel pain afterwards because then you're going to get conditioned to feel that every time you shoot, it's going to hurt. And what's going to happen? You're probably not going to want to shoot. You're going to try to drive a lot more, and that might cause you even more pain. Just something to think about there. On Dio says, hit that like and subscribe button to the channel and enjoy the show. Always appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much for always supporting the show. David says, the Villanova boys shine for the W. Preston Achua had his best overall game of the season. Jericho Sims looked really good tonight. Same with Campaign in 7 minutes. McBride, amazing. OG clutch late. I agree, David, but Campaign should have got more minutes because I felt like he's almost instant office every time he's in there. I thought he played some good defense, even though he was getting some silly fouls at first. I still think you have to expand the rotation. You have to put him in the game. Same thing with Landry Shamet. If you trust him, you got to put him into the game. I felt like the Knicks had a lot of opportunities to run a couple of units out there that they chose not to because the game was so close. Again, game is close. I understand it, but something to talk about there is all I'm trying to say. Stanley says, it's a problem for Thibs. Wouldn't surprise me if Towns is out for a few weeks. We badly need Mitch back. Outlaw says, I hope he could fully recover. Corey Lee with the $2 super chat says, the butcher is coming. Number 23. My guy has been consistent all postgame, all live stream, all season long. He's been a Mitch fan. He thinks Mitchell Robinson can change the season, and I guess time will tell to see if that happens. Shout out to you and your super chat, man. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you supporting the show. Outlaw says, we need to expand the rotation. I'm glad that we won the game, but too many minutes for our starters. I mean, he's not wrong, right? 43 for Mikal, 45 for OG, 45 for Brunson, 49 for Hart. Ridiculous. Hart played 49 minutes, guys. 49 minutes for Josh Hart is absolutely crazy. I can't believe that. Coral Knight says, good thing the big sneeze pulled through tonight, but Thibs needs to stop playing Sims and start playing Big Huck. That's just me, though. I think that's true and that's fair, although I will say that Jericho Sims, at least tonight, not on offense. I thought he could be better on offense. But on defense, I thought he played very well. He tied up Paul George a couple of times, was very good on Tyrese Maxey a couple of times with his defense. Didn't really have a problem on defense with Jericho Sims. Thought he did great on the rebounding as well, too. Helped the Knicks win on the boards. When we break down the team stats, you'll be able to see that. So not bad minutes from Jericho Sims, just not effective in terms of his offense. Something to understand there, though. The Meow of Wisdom says, I know we can't make an immediate change to have Huck Porty in the rotation consistently, but do you think the NBA teams such as the Knicks will see this in the media and maybe consider that an option, Troy? I think everybody sees everything. I mean, Mitchell Robinson clearly sees a lot of things that we drop or things on social media or things like that because he comments on a lot of that. I mean, social media is a buzz a lot of the times whenever we talk about Josh Hart's comments. I think the whole egos thing about Josh Hart and all of that, it was blown up by social media. We ran with it. A number of other, Knick content creator accounts, they ran with it. And because of that, it sparked a lot of other conversations. Those conversations influenced the media because the media now knows social media is going crazy about this particular issue. So now the questions they're going to ask is related to the issue that's gone viral. So a lot of things that we do really do make the media either ask the questions or get that information or content in front of the players' faces. Think about it. How many times was Josh Hart asked about the ego thing or the attitude thing or wanting to hear about Josh Hart in his comments? It's because they want to know who that player is, who it's about, because everybody else now has put it out there that that's something to talk about. So I do think we have a very big influence. But with that influence, we have to be careful as well, too, because you can also put out some information that may not be right. So I think it's a double-edged sword. So you have to be careful in what you say, what you do, and, who you're talking about. But the way to beat that is be yourself. As long as you're yourself, you're a fan, you're passionate, and you know what you're talking about, doesn't really matter or apply to you. Last comment, and then we're going to go to the team stats. I'm going to give this last comment to Michael. Michael says, what was the point of signing Shamit if we're not going to use him instead of someone who can contribute? Ooh, very, very good question. I did mention that already. I did mention with the bench, and he's basically talking about, we're going to go into the team stats on your right there in a second. But what Michael is talking about here is the fact that Landry Shamet was a DNP in tonight's game, even though we saw the bench go 3 deep, basically, with Achua at 30, Campaign at 7, and McBride at 22. Honestly, I wish Campaign played more minutes. I wish Tyler Cole had got more minutes, and I do wish another big off the bench was able to get more minutes. So, expanding the rotation, absolutely. Do I think it should have happened? Absolutely. Do I think Landry Shamet should have played more? Absolutely. He had a reason to play tonight. Clearly, we needed more bodies out there. We didn't want to see any tired legs. The starters were playing so many minutes. I think playing him at least 7 to 10 minutes in place for Mikal Bridges, that might have been helpful. But again, it's up to Tom Thibodeau at times and what rotations that he likes. I do agree that if you sign a player, you need to be able to use him. It shouldn't be situational like this. I get you want to win the game, but shouldn't you win the game while also playing the lineup that we're likely going to see moving forward? Landry Shamet was supposed to be part of that lineup. So it is a fair question and something to call him out about. I know I've said my fair share about it as well, too. Either use him or tell me why you signed him. And I think right now the question is, why did you sign him if you're not going to use him? But very good question, Michael. I appreciate you. Now, let's move back into the game and talk about these team stats. We did go over just now the breakdown of the Knicks minutes, where they were playing, how many minutes they were playing, and things like that. I already talked about that, and I didn't really criticize Tom Thibodeau for it. I understand it for tonight. But we had to talk about the team assist, and, well, not really a team assist. We have to talk about the team stats. So right now, the best thing to do is to talk about the team stats. Let's pull that up real quick and break down some of the more key ones or important team stats that we're seeing here from the Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. So something to know here is that Philly and the Knicks shot very well from the field. Philly shot 50% even from the field. The Knicks shot 53.5%. From three, the Knicks shot 43% with Philly at 37%. That was one of the main reasons the Knicks won the game. Another reason the Knicks won the game is the rebounds. The Knicks out-rebounded Philly 45-35, and that's not the story in terms of offensive rebounds. We'll get to that in a second. Turnovers, the Knicks had more turnovers than Philly, 16-12, although I will say, even though the Knicks turned the ball over more, I felt like when the Philly turned the ball over, the Knicks were able to convert more on their turnovers than Philly was able to do. Just something to talk about there. But the rebounds, that's where New York was able to dominate. And I think we have to thank Jericho Sims and Preston Achiuwa and Josh Hart for that. They were dominating on defense, dominating on rebounds. If it wasn't Achiuwa, it was Sims. If it wasn't Sims, it was Josh Hart. Josh Hart always getting us those second chance opportunities. And when he gets that ball, because of his high level of IQ, he can find the open player almost instantly. He gets an easy assist. We get an easy bucket, and the Knicks are a better team because of it. Very, very important to understand what these rebounds mean, what these second chance opportunities mean. Last year, the reason we were in so many games and won so many games was because of our rebounding. And it's very nice to see tonight that another key factor to the Knicks winning was their rebounds. But there were other reasons why the Knicks won this game, and also other reasons why Philly was so close in this game. And we have to talk about that as well, too. Let's pull up the full team stats and the shot chart, as that always helps tell the full story. So as you can see here, we have the full team stats as well as the shot chart. One thing you have to notice right away off the page is the number of team assists. The Knicks had 28 team assists, while the Philadelphia 76ers had 27 team assists. Now, I said it a number of times. If the Knicks are going to be in games and win games, their assist number as a team has to be 27 or 28 plus. So that's the minimum they need to have. And right now, tonight, they were able to get that. But as you saw there, the reason the game was also so close was because Philly was passing the ball as well, too. They had 27 assists, and they were moving that ball extremely well, penetrating, creating, or finding an open shooter as they're moving down court and they find somebody open with nobody near them. We saw that a couple of times. We even saw Yabusele, who's not a great three-point shooter. He's basically the center that Philly had tonight in replace of Joel Embiid, who was not there tonight as he's missing more games. But that's another story for another day. But even he was open, and he was taking those three-point shots. I still feel like the Knicks' perimeter defense could be a lot better, and that was another reason why Philadelphia was in this game, because we allowed them to shoot a lot of open threes, and we allowed them to attack as well, too. And they were able to get a lot of points inside the paint. Very, very good transition play from them as well, too. We really couldn't stop them in transition, and they knew that. That's why in that third quarter, after every rebound, after every miss, after every steal, all they were doing was running, and that helped them close the gap fairly quickly. Let's look at those team stats as well again, too, because there's something else you got to look at there. And another thing is the points in the paint. Philadelphia won that battle 56-54. And if you looked in the first half, that wasn't the case. New York was the one winning there. But in that second half, with Tyrese Maxey and Paul George, what they did in that third quarter, they were able to close that gap a lot. And now at the end of the game, you see the result there. So that's something to take a look at. And the free throws and the number of free throws, another thing to take a look at. The Knicks got to the line 24 times in comparison to the 76ers 14 times. That is very, very important. That means the Knicks were able to generate more fouls, draw more fouls, get to the line more, and make their free throws. Although 17 for 24, 70% from the free throw line. That's not great. They should do a lot better. You don't want to leave points at the line because you're never going to get them back. And clearly in a close game like this, if New York was perfect from the line or near perfect, we would have closed out this game in the fourth. Would have closed out this game in the fourth. The Knicks missing those free throws are one of the main reasons we went into OT. And that was one of the team stats I wanted to highlight more than anything else. Why? Because it's a very, very good point to make again. Make your free throws. Hit your free throws. Don't give away the Don't give away the freebies at the line. You are at the line. It's free. Don't give them free chicken. They ate twice tonight. We got them so much free food. I didn't want to hear them cheer like that, scream like that. I never want to see that. Please, play consistent defense. Play consistent defense. Get your rebounds. Pass the ball. But when you draw those fouls and you get to the line, make the free throws at the line. Do not give away freebies. That's how you win games. I know a lot of people are going to go in the comments. You're likely going to go maybe in the chat. If you're commenting on this because you're not watching it live, you might do it there. Or maybe in the video package that I normally do with this, the edited version of it that I usually post the next day, which I will be doing for this one. You might comment there and say, well, this is nothing to be excited about. Philadelphia is a bad team. We didn't play very well. We let that second half go. You should be criticizing them more and really not giving them a pass. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm giving them a pass. I'm sorry if you feel like I should be harder on them. I think I was plenty critical of what this Knicks team can do, but I also have to take it with a grain of salt, don't I? It was an OT game. We were not having Karl-Anthony Towns. It was a back and forth affair. And yes, in that third quarter, we didn't really play up to the par of a Knicks team. Maybe the same could be said in that fourth quarter, especially with the careless turnovers. But what I did see was a Knicks team that never gave up. A Knicks team that looked very good in the first half with an aggressive Mikal Bridges without their best player or one of their best players in Karl-Anthony Towns. And they were still able to rise up above it all on the road in an aggressive environment and still get the victory. There's two ways you can look at it. Tonight, given what I saw and everything I just mentioned, I would rather praise the victory, praise how we won, what we were able to overcome and do versus beat it down and talk bad about it, because that's not going to help anyone. I like some things that the Knicks did tonight. Obviously, they have a lot to work on, especially their transition and their perimeter defense, because if that doesn't get better, we're going to get blown out in the postseason because teams are not going to be that open and that free and miss shots. It's just not going to happen. So while there is some good to look at, there's also some bad that we still have to correct. But we got the W. We got the victory. We did it against the Philadelphia 76ers team that pushed us into overtime. The Knicks are 2-0 in OT games this season. It's something to help. It's something to hold your hat on. It's something to be happy about. I would much rather talk about an OT win than an OT loss. Keep that in mind. But I love what I saw from Jalen, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges tonight. They did not want the Knicks to lose this game. They willed the Knicks to get this game and get this victory. Mikal did it with his aggressiveness. Jalen Brunson did it by being the captain, leading this team and never stopping. And Josh Hart did it by being a triple-double machine, giving you a little bit of everything and never giving up. He is the definition of hustle. And tonight, he proved it by every single play that he made. Phenomenal game to watch, and phenomenal play from our everyman in Josh Hart. Now let's go to the comments, see what you guys have to say, and break down some of your takes before we close out tonight's show. Let's see here. Knicks 100 GM says, sup with ya, Yuri again. So I see we got people in the house who's happy. We got Tony saying, what's up to Yuri? Got Minnesota Jets fan that says, Knicks, baby. We're going to get another key piece to this team soon. I believe we will. And I believe Jericho Sims had a great audition, didn't he? Great little audition that Jericho Sims had today, increasing his trade value like he did. Jericho Sims is going to be off this team before February 6th. Mark my words on that. Tony says, I hope we trade for Trey Murphy. Shamit, McBride, Payne. We got to trade one of those guards. We too small off the bench, and we need to get a small forward that can score 12 to 17 points and defend. Tony, respect you so much. Trey Murphy is having a career season. Even if we could have gotten him, now he has priced himself out of the Knicks market. We're never going to be able to get him at this point. EDBC says, was at the game tonight. Electric. I bet it was. An OT? I can only imagine, man. Shout out to you. I'm glad you went to the game. Post some pictures. Tag me in them. I'd love to see them. Benjamin B says, the Nets are better, but please do not ban me. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yuck. We got a Nets fan in here. Man, I wish they had a YouTube filter that says you cannot enter this chat unless you're at least a play-in team. Unfortunately, they don't let me do that. I appreciate everybody who's deleting these messages. My guy Yuri, by the way, hold up. Please give us some thumbs up, some flowers, and some hearts for my guy Yuri. One of the hardest working moderators on the channel. Love my guy Yuri. Always part of the chats. He holds it down. Shout out to Yuri, man. Nelly Nell. Philly got the free chicken and took the L. What a way to close that out. I love that comment. That's exactly what happened. They got their free chicken, yelling, screaming, all happy. But what happened after all of that? You're eating chicken while watching the Knicks close you out in OT. And now you got the itis while you go home. You lose again. Just saying. Cad said, what up, Troy? What's going on, family? How you feeling? Knicks 100 GM says, Yuri. Josh says, we need Jonas Valanciunas. And Josh says, no Nets fans allowed. Hey, listen, man. You guys are part of the stream. I just let you guys give me the comments. Whatever you guys don't like, I'm sure Yuri will help moderate it for you. Don't worry about that. One of the best moderators in the game. Yarvis says, Chuma Okeke we have in the G League to give Bridges and OG a breath and defend, score off the bench. Listen, you don't got to tell me about Chuma. I mean, go back and check a couple of videos ago what I did. I called that guy a future star in this league, especially for the Knicks. I think he would have a perfect role for this Knicks team, especially under Tom Thibodeau. But unfortunately, he's just not getting that burn right now. I think the Knicks are waiting to make a move before maybe they make that call up. But I don't even know if they would make him that call up. It might be TJ Warren. Something to think about there, though. Nelly says, Nick Richards traded to the Suns for Josh Okogie and 3 second-round picks. I definitely saw that. The funny part was I was going to put out a Nick Richards video. I had it ready. And the Richards video, matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys a thumbnail so you guys know I'm not lying about it. Hold up. Let me show you guys that really quickly. Everybody thinks that I'm lying when I say I was going to do a video about it. Hold up. Check this out, guys. I'm not lying. I had to hide one of these things, though. I can't show you part of it. Check this out. Can you see it? Wait. See that? See what it says there? That's Nick Richards on the thumbnail for that particular one that I'm doing, right? And I was going to do a video about Nick Richards because I was going to tell everybody that, yeah, the Knicks are not interested in him anymore. We don't have a shot at getting him because the latest reports indicate that they have not even touched base in a while. So that means they're focused on somebody else. Was going to report that. No need to anymore. He was traded before that video went out. And I was editing that video at the time that announcement was released. I didn't even get to put the video out. Was robbed. Whatever. I can't. That's why you can't predict things sometimes. It's unfortunate. Tony says, the Nets don't even know how to be good when they had Kyrie, Durant, and Harden. They sucked then and they're terrible still. Shout out to Tony. Absolutely 100% right. No lies detected. Dovid says, Troy, do you think after Sims' performance tonight, his value has went up? And do you think he will be traded for a pick or picks to make room for Warren or Okeke or trade Sims for another player? That's a very good comment, Dovid. I don't think you're going to get another player for Sims. Sims' value right now is likely a second-round pick. If you're lucky, you might get 2 second-round picks. That's likely all you're going to get. definitely increases trade value after tonight's play, but by how much? I mean, everybody knows he only played because he was given those minutes and there was no Karl-Anthony Towns. But they also saw not really good offense. So he gave you some good defense, but a lot of teams want two-way play. And if you're really a zero on offense, it's going to hurt your trade value a little bit. Though I did think that he did enough on the rebounding end to increase it a little bit more than it was already. So maybe that puts pressure on another team to make that move. Time will tell, but I do think that he's moved before the trade deadline. There's no reason to hold on to him anymore at this point, I think. Michael says, why is Matt Ryan on a two-way opposed to Okeke, Brown, or Warren? He's on a two-way right now because the Knicks have faith in him and have always wanted to keep him as part of the team. They like his shooting as well. But I agree with you. I would much rather have Okeke on a two-way or have him as part of the standard team on a standard NBA contract, which they might be able to do if they trade Jericho Sims for a second-round pick. They don't really have to trade him for a player. They can just free up cap space just by moving him. That's another move that I think the Knicks might explore by adding talent at a very low-cost way by just going to the G League. Let's see here. Yuri says, think we will hear a vid on an actual trade soon. Probably very soon, Yuri. If I'm not mistaken, I would say before February 6th, maybe late January. I wouldn't say right now, late January. I would assume that that's when the Knicks make that move. Because the longer that you wait, the more desperate a team gets in terms of wanting to make a trade. And when they get desperate, their price gets a lot lower. Even though Valanciunas or whoever the Knicks may want to trade for at this point in time, the value of those players are already sinking. They might get lower. So you never know what a team might get desperate enough with to want to accept for a trade back for one of those players. Something to keep in mind there. Nelly says, Yuri, I agree. Leon is cooking up something. He is. He definitely is. We don't know what it is yet. I can't really put my finger on exactly what Leon Rose would be doing at this point in time. But I can say, without a doubt, he is cooking up a storm, and we are going to see a phenomenal move made very soon. Because that's all that Leon Rose knows how to do. Make this team better and make us be that team that we know we should be moving forward into the postseason. Excuse me. Knicks 100 says, top and whole game look stepped up. You're talking about in the G League, then I agree. Toppin did step up in the G League. Carl Knight says, Precious low-key saved us with that goaltending block because what people may forget is that Yabusele actually put a back shot after it was called. No. That definitely did help us. I even think Clyde mentioned it as well, too. When he got that block and he was able to add more time to the clock, we were able to save the game and get another possession. So it really did help the Knicks in that regard. However, at the same respect, I did think the overall defense from Achua was way better than a lot of people are giving him credit to. That's why I stopped, I think maybe about 15 minutes ago, I stopped and I said to myself, I got to give him some credit. I got to give Precious Achua a little bit of spotlight here because of the level of defense he was giving, the block shots he had late, especially the one I think he had on Maxey when he was driving. I mean, those were clutch shots, clutch blocks, and the ability to do that and get the Knicks at transition play, it's important. All right, one last comment, and we are done here. Let's go to Nelly Nell. Precious better not get traded. He made key plays down the stretch, and even though he helped the Philly fans get chicken, yeah, I don't think he should get traded either, honestly. I think that Precious Achiuwa did what he needed to do tonight. He showcased his value. He played heavy minutes. He played good defense, was able to give you blocks, good rebounds, score inside as well, move without the ball. I thought Achua did a lot for his value with the Knicks today because his value in terms of the way he was playing defense, the way he was playing off ball, that was very, very good level of play from him. The only thing I would have to criticize from Achua is sometimes getting lost on defense because he overhelps. We see him overcommit on the help a lot of times, and that way it's easier for a cutter to come right behind him. It happened a few times tonight, and it's always because he's overhelping. That's not a bad thing. It's just he can't overcommit to it. Keep one foot next to your defender, keep the other foot trying to come into the opposing player, and you might have a better chance at stopping both while also preventing a fast break or an easy cut inside the paint. something to think about there, but I did like Achua and what I saw from him tonight. Like I said, a very, very big reason why we won this game. Let's see. Senora Mansarita, I think. Troy, do you think that the Knicks should keep Achua? Yeah, they should keep Achua without a doubt. Why not? Achua, in my opinion, Achua is one of the better depth pieces that we have right now off the bench. You can't get better than Achua off the bench right now. Achua is giving you basically trade-worthy value. A player that you would need to trade for, you would likely have to look through the market to get the level of impact you're getting right now from Precious Achua. Achua right now is playing on a different level off the bench, and that's why Tom Thibodeau rewarded him with so many minutes, because he was clutch, and that's something we have to talk about. Let's see here. David says, by the way, I saw an interesting stat. When Sims starts for the Knicks are undefeated. Is that even right? It probably is, but I'm not going to take a lot of stock into that. How many games has Jericho Sims even started for the Knicks? Less than 10? 9? 8? I don't know what the number is, but it can't be high. I'm not going to put too much stock into that, David. Like I said, sometimes stats can lie. Stats are good and bad, and sometimes, depending on how you use a stat, it can make you see something that isn't there. I watch the game as well as look at the stats. I take them both. And sometimes stats make something sound too good to be true. Sometimes the eye test makes something sound too good to be true. That's why it's good to use both. The eye test here would make it seem that Jericho Sims, maybe he does have an impact on winning when he's playing, maybe on the rebounding end. But oftentimes when he's playing in those games, to close out games, he's not the center playing. It's the other opposing center that's playing. That's something to keep in mind there. Let's see here. Next comment. Max B. Precious is a native New Yorker. We love him. Gotta agree with that. Love Precious Achua. Precious was getting scored on at will the entire time we had the lead. I wouldn't say that. If you're talking about the third quarter, if you're talking about that third quarter, let's talk about the second quarter when he helped us get the lead. What about that? Are we not talking about that? The second quarter where we were up, closing that at 13 points. Was he not helping us get the lead in that? Because I believe he was part of the lineup that was switching good, rotating good, playing good defense, and denying penetrators inside. Of course, we can talk about some of his bad plays. We can talk about that atrocious third quarter, which, by the way, was he the only bad player in that third? Because I saw some bad turnovers from Jalen Brunson. I saw some very bad play from Mikal Bridges, from OG Anunoby getting beat by his defender. Let's not only talk about Achua in that quarter. We can break down and talk about a lot of bad plays that we had. A lot of bad plays inside the paint where nobody was switching properly, bad communication inside, and easy buckets. We can't just put Precious Achua as the only player that got scored on. Rewatch that quarter, because I am very sure a number of players were scored on. We can't keep filtering the blame just the players that we want to filter the blame to. A lot of players need to take blame for that defense in the third. And Precious Achua may be one of them, but not the only one. Let's see here. Oh my God. Knicks 100, you always go at me, bro. You always go at me. You did it when we had Julius. Remember the foolish comments you used to make just to get my blood pressure to go like this? I ain't falling for you tonight, man. I'm about to end this stream and I got to edit a video. And talking to you, you're going to get me to a point where I don't edit nothing. Okay? You're lucky you don't have my red cup tonight. If I had my red cup, I'd be drinking it. Let's see. Senora says, true or false? Josh Hart is the most consistent and reliable player on the Knicks. True. By 1,000. True. And I think that's based on his play. He's not always going to give you assists, rebounds, steals, all of these things at the exact same time. But that level of hustle and play is always there from Josh Hart, from start to finish. That's why I say Josh Hart. I agree with your comment and your statement. No. It's not your bat. It's not your bat. You do it on purpose, Knicks 100. You always come in here and you do that. But I will say, you've been a supporter of this show, probably from the start I've been doing this show. So because of that, you're always going to get love from me. But I'm always going to call you out as well, because you always do it. You always do it. And you think I don't see it. but I see it. You do it. Just saying. But it's all love. It's all love. Now, Nelly Nell says, Chuma is a two-way dog. He is. 3-and-D specialist. Get him on this team and watch what he can do. He's also a threat for a triple-double if given the time. I'm just saying. Max B says, this is why we need Huck Porty. He patrols the paint. It would have helped. I agree with that. I think he's better on defense than a lot of us give him credit to. Now, is he still late to switch sometimes on defense? Yes. Is he the best player on defense? No. But I still think his activity and his energy is needed in games like this because he gives you that type of energy that can really make you wake up in a game, play better defense, and come together as a team. You need anchors like that at time. And Hunk Porty, I feel like he can do that. All right. This went on a lot longer than I expected, but that's only because the comments came in a lot faster than I expected as well, too. I didn't expect to get so many, a flood of comments coming in, but I appreciate you guys. Hey, I appreciate you, Knicks 100. You gave me a heart and said, yo, Troy, no Diddy. He's basically saying he loves me. I appreciate you, my brother. The love is felt right back to you. Just stop getting on my nerves, okay? Stop coming in here and doing what you do because I know what you're doing and I see it and you see it. We all see it, but it's all love. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Jay Boog says, keeping it 100. Towns has been the most consistent player. Okay. So I'm going to end it with Tony's comment about Towns being the most consistent player. Because I actually want to talk about that. So let's talk about that real quick. To close out, shout out to everybody, by the way, who's on the stream. If you guys could, if anybody's watching the stream right now before I close out, just hit that thumbs up button for me if you could on this stream. I don't know why, but for YouTube and the algorithm, once you do that, it gets the video out there to everybody else. They can see it. They can become fans of the show. It helps the channel grow. So really, if you guys could do that, it would help. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I really don't know what you're doing at this point. Hit that subscribe button. You can join the chat as a live chat member once you're able to hit that subscribe button. And you can even join as a member as well, too, and get signed up for all of the great perks that we have. By the way, giveaway. That is right. We are running a giveaway this month for 2 tickets to the Knicks versus Denver Nuggets game on January 29th. And entering is so simple. All you have to do to enter is just be a member of this channel. If you're a subscriber, you're halfway there. The next step is to hit that join button on the main page. Once you do that, all you have to do is choose a tier, which tier you want to join for the channel. You hit that join button, you donate to the show, and also in the process, you set yourself up for a chance to win 2 tickets to MSG to watch Karl-Anthony Towns versus the Joker. Definitely get in on that. Details are on my social media account, so be sure you go there and get those details if you want to join and get into that. Now, before I close out the show, Tony mentioned that he believes that Karl-Anthony Towns has been the most consistent player on this team. I do want to say I don't agree with that, just because I believe consistency has to be on both sides of the ball, defense and offense. And when you look on that end, sometimes Karl-Anthony Towns is consistent on defense, but sometimes he isn't. The player that is most consistent on both ends of the floor is Josh Hart, because Josh Hart always gives you a little bit of everything. Now, does he struggle some nights? Of course he does. But for the most part, he's a walking double-double and sometimes close near triple-double by the way he playmakes, by the way he rebounds, and the way that he scores. So for me, in my personal opinion, he is the most consistent. That doesn't make him the best player. That doesn't make him the all-star, even though you could probably make a case that he could be an all-star. But it does make him a very important piece for this team and a player that is always consistent and efficient with this team. Because with Josh Hart, you know what he's going to give you from a night-to-night basis. Hustle, play, and a little bit of everything. And that's why he's a starter. Because the starters, some of them specialize on certain individual things. Josh Hart is the only player on this team, and really the only starter, that specializes in a lot of everything. And a very, very good player to specialize in all of those things at a high rate. Josh Hart is the main reason for that. So I wanted to say that real quick about him. But guys, with tonight's game, yes, we won tonight's game. Yes, we did it in overtime. We should have not been pushed to overtime by this Philadelphia 76ers team. We should have blown them out. But when push came to shove, when we were facing adversity, we had to make a decision. Do we fold and quit, or do we rise up and take the victory? And we saw what happened in OT. Perfect OT in terms of our shots and the way we shot from the line. Doing all of that led to the Knicks getting the W. Playing good defense led to the Knicks getting the W. Ball movement, player movement led to the Knicks getting the W. If we're able to play like that for 48 minutes, we're going to be that force that nobody in the NBA wants to see. But until we can get to that level of play, we have a lot of work to do. But what about you guys? What did you like from tonight's game? What did you not like from tonight's game? Were there some things that I did not talk about that you wanted me to speak about? Let me know in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for tonight's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.